And welcome along to the Eason Must Reads for Winter 2021. You can tell it's winter because
Christmas!
we have jumpers. We have 8 books that we think that you are going to really enjoy, potentially either for yourself or for the loved ones in your life. I'm going to start with the shortest of all of them, which is Claire Keegan's Small Things Like These. It's set in 1985. It's kind of a Christmas book because it is set in the run-up to Christmas. It's set amongst a man and a family who are attempting to just keep their lives together. They're living in the shadow of the mother and baby home in New Ross. It is 110 pages long and it's the best Irish book I have read this year.
It's fantastic. Open Hearted by Anne Ingle is one of my choices. It is a series of short stories and essays that she's written, and it's about 80 years of love, laughter and life. She has had a very difficult life and she's a survivor, and there's so much wisdom in this book. Absolutely wonderful.
I wouldn't have thought I would have liked to have read a book about Ireland's dealing with the COVID catastrophe, but it turns out I was wrong. Richard Chambers' A State of Emergency starts just before COVID becomes a problem in Europe, so the very beginning of 2020, and then tells the story all the way to the present day. He talks to the people who are involved at the very, very top end of government and of NEFIT, also talks to people working in the healthcare service as well, and manages to make it read like a thriller, and it's compelling stuff.
My next one is Aisling in the City. I don't think anybody hasn't read an Aisling book. This is the new one. Aisling goes to New York to try and mend her broken heart, and it's about homesickness and imposter syndrome, and it's warm and it's funny, and it has the usual really, really excellent observations on human behaviour.
Anthony Doerr's CloudCuckooland. It's been 7 years since All the Light We Cannot See, his last book. This more than lives up to my expectations. It's 3 stories. One is set in Constantinople as it's about to be invaded in the 1500s, one of which is set in the modern day, one of which is set on a spacecraft bringing the human race away from Earth in the future, in the face of a catastrophe. All those 3 stories are connected. It's far too complicated to explain to you why now, but it is about how stories and storytelling keep us safe in times of catastrophe.
Okay, and my next is Crossroads by Jonathan Franzen. It took him 12 years to write. He has ambitiously said he's going to make it the beginning of a trilogy. I presume he's not going to take 12 years to write the other 2. It is a usual Franzen, a family that appears very normal on the surface and in fact is extremely dysfunctional, and the book peels back the layers and we learn how crazy this family really is.
And finally, I have Fintan O'Toole's We Don't Know Ourselves. You may know Fintan from the Irish Times, or from seeing him on the telly. This is a book that tells the story of Ireland from 1958, which is the year Fintan was born. It's partially about him and his family, but then is also told in parallel with the Ireland of those years. So it starts with everything from mass emigration all the way through the Troubles. It brings you through political scandals of the 1980s and 1990s, right the way through to the present day. If you ever wanted a potted history of that part of Ireland, it's absolutely brilliant.
And finally, I've chosen Love in a Time of War, which is Laura Marlowe's tribute to Robert Fisk, who was her lover, her husband, and her mentor. And it's just the most phenomenal gallop through their adventures, 20 years together in war-torn countries like Syria, the Lebanon, Iran. It's a phenomenal read, and it's a beautiful tribute to him.
And those are our 8 books for winter, and we hope you find something in there you love.
Think you will.